Hello everyone, this is Melanie from Melanie B's Creative Studio, and today you're looking at something a little different than what you've normally seen on my screen. So today we're going to talk about several things you can do to organize your purchases for your paint by numbers, your diamond paintings, your cross-stitch kits, whatever it is that you're purchasing online, or even when you go out in the store and you buy something. How are you keeping track of your stash, no matter what hobby you're into? So I have some really good tips, and these are things that I've been doing for quite a while, and I'm also going to add a couple of extra things in this video that were shown to me recently that I thought were like genius. So I'm gonna bring you all of those. Now, the first part of this video is gonna include how to use the technology that is at your disposal. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna show you some digital guides that I've been selling on my website for about 9 months, but I've never introduced you to them and I've never shown you how to use them. So for those of you who would prefer to do it the old-fashioned way and have like a printed guide, I have that for you guys as well. So stay tuned for that. But first, what we're going to work on is I do everything pretty much with my phone. And so this is something you can do with your phone. Only reason I have my iPad is because I want to be able to show you on a larger scale what you would do. For the most part, an iPad works like your iPhone. If there are any discrepancies on how this works, I will just show you on my phone. In fact, I might do most of this on the phone just because there are a few little differences. Now, I will tell you, I have 42,000 or 45,000 photos and videos on my phone, so it can get a little messy looking, but you know, it is what it is. I am an avid photographer and videographer, and I have grandbabies and kids, so that just tells you I take a lot of photos. All right, so let us begin. So tip number one. When I make a purchase online, how do I keep track of what I've bought? So I also do collaborations with a lot of companies. So how do I know what they're sending me? How do I know which kit, which company is sending me? And how do I know if I've bought it before? Or if it's something that I love, how do I know I'm not going to go buy it while they're, in process of sending that to me? Because I have about 200 painting kits right now, and I have probably close to 100 diamond painting kits. And now I've acquired about 30 cross-stitch kits and, scratch art and coloring books and so on and so forth. And you guys have seen my art studio. I have thousands of rubber stamps and dies and things like that. So the point is, it can get out of control. Even if you have 15 kits, it can be overwhelming. So this is my method for keeping track of anything I'm buying online. Even when it comes to clothes, you can do this. If you're a person who likes to put outfits together, this is something you can do. So as you purchase something, save a photo. So how do you do that? So let me get into my iPad real quick. So I have Anna Banana pulled up. And the reason I have them pulled up is because their website allows me to save a photo. So I had ordered this painting before. And so I want to make sure I have a photo of this painting in my stash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this down until I see this menu. It's going to say share, add to photos, and copy. So I'm going to click add to photos. What that does is it's going to add a copy of that picture into my photo album on my camera roll on my iPad or my phone. Now, I know that this can be a different process for a Droid. I am not familiar with Droid. I've had an iPhone since the second month. They were introduced back in 2005. So I've always had a iPhone, and so I apologize if it's different on a Droid, but this is how it works for iPhone. And you know what I say, once you go Mac, you never go back. So I've been using Mac products with the exception of about 9 months when I went to a Droid and said, oh my gosh, let me sell this thing. So I sold it. Anyway, so now that that picture is in my camera roll, we're going to open a different website, and I'm going to go to paintbynumbers.shop. And the reason I'm going to do this is some of the companies that you're going to buy from are going to have photos that you cannot hold and click and save to your photo album. So what happens when you run into that situation? A lot of the photos are copywritten. So what that means is, for example, they're not going to allow you to save their photo and go copy it. So the reason for that is they don't want you to take this picture, make a copy of it, reproduce it, and do your own art from it. So what I'm doing is I'm not reproducing this. All I'm doing is saving it for my personal use as a reference for myself in an album. And so I am not doing anything illegal with this picture. But I need to know that I have this painting in my stash. But I cannot hold this down and get that menu and save it to my photo album. So what am I going to do? I'm going to screenshot this picture. So on an iPad, it might be one way, and on a phone, iPhone, it might be a little different. So I'll do it on both just to show you. Now, please, I am not giving you permission to steal people's artwork, okay? This is not what this is about. This is for your personal use, so you know what paintings you purchased, and this is not about stealing these pictures or these paintings, okay? So do not use these to recreate anything for selling or any of that kind of thing. That is illegal, and I'm not encouraging you to do that. I have both of these images pulled up on both my screens. Now, you guys also will notice, and I've talked about this a million times, I have severe hemiplegic migraines, and blue screens can be a major trigger for me. So I have to keep my screens on warm. I know it might be a little weird to look at, but unless y'all want me to have a stroke right here, I have to keep these screens really warm. On an iPad, to screenshot, you're gonna push, and I would hold this up, but it's kind of hard to see. I'm gonna push the top button, and I'm gonna push the top button on my volume at the same time, and I'm gonna screenshot that image. So it's gonna take that picture and it's gonna put it in that photo album or that camera roll that I have on my iPad. On my iPhone, I'm gonna push the single button on the right, and this is for the iPhone XS, which is what I have right here. And I'm sure it's the same on the newer iPhones and the older iPhones. You're gonna push the top volume button, and you're gonna push the on-off button here, and we're gonna screenshot that as well, okay? So that's gonna put that in my camera and my photo album. All right, so that's how you would do it depending on how their albums or their photos are set up. Now, what are we gonna do with the pictures now that we have them on our device? We're going to open our photos and we're going to see those two pictures right here. Now, if you are OCD like I am, you can go in and you can go to edit. I like to crop out some of this white stuff, and you can go to crop and you can just kind of close it in a little bit. So all we're seeing is mostly the artwork, right? And then done. And then I have just the painting showing up. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that main menu, and there's a button here that says select. We're going to click that, and then we're going to click the two paintings that we want to put into an album. So once we've selected those, we're going to see this little button down here. It looks like it's a rectangle with an arrow. We're going to click that little button, and then we're going to have this screen pop up. We can choose to send these in messages, or we can do all kinds of things, share them to Facebook and whatnot. But we can also come down here and say add to album. Now, we're going to select new album because we don't have an album for these yet, assuming you've never done this before. Now, I'm going to call this album, because these are paint by number kits, PBN Stash. You can name this whatever you want. I put it all in caps because I'm like, yes. All right, and then return, and it's gonna save that new album for me. Now, where am I gonna find that? So if I go back to my albums, let's just go all the way to the beginning, and I'm gonna show you this on the phone as well. You will see right here is that album, and it's gonna have all of those pictures. Now, the next trick was a fabulous, fabulous trick that Reed on the group told me about, and I'm so mad at myself I didn't know it sooner. And I'm super surprised I didn't know it sooner, because not that I know everything, but I have had an iPhone and an iPad and Mac products for freaking, like 16 years. So I'm in love with this idea. So if you click on the photo, yes, my little seagull has been decapitated because I haven't opened him up all the way. But if you take the photo and you're looking at it and you slide upward, you will see right here, add a caption. Did you know that you can type that you purchased this from Anna Banana on 5/31, which is not the truth, but anyway, 5/31/21, and any notes that you want to put in there. You could put the name of it. We're just going to call it Seagulls. I'm not going to type all the details. This is the artist Anna Petanova and whatever. I could put any information I want. So for me, if this was a collaboration piece, I would put Anna Banana collab, and then I would put they shipped it on 5/31/21. I received it on whatever date. I did the video, you know, on this date. I uploaded on this date, and I completed my project. I mean, like, I put all that information in there. And so that gives me all the information I need to know, so that if they ask me, hey, did you finish the video? Did you record it yet? I have all that at my fingertips. But you guys, that tip right there was worth its weight in gold for me. That way you can keep up with everything you purchase, where you bought it from, what the name of it is in case you have to find it again, when you bought it, how long it took for it to be arrived to you, you know, the shipping dates and all that, and whether you want to go back and buy from that company again. Okay, so that is tip number one for using your iPad or your iPhone or your Droid, whatever you guys have. This could also work if all you have is a laptop. Okay, same kind of thing. On a laptop, you would right-click the image on the website and save it to a folder, type in your information, same kind of thing, okay? But I'm not gonna go into laptops, they're all different. I use a Mac, some people use a PC. I'm not getting into all that technology. Now, the next thing we're gonna talk about, and it works on an iPad as well, but for me, iPhone is better, and I'm going to turn off some lights here real quickly. And normally I would not be working in darkness, but I want you to be able to see. Do you realize that your iPhone or your Droid has a great flashlight on it? So if I'm working in a lighted area, and it's really, even if I have another light here, a light source, you see how that light is good? It's just not quite getting it. So I need to see what this is right here. My phone is fabulous for extra light. Now, I don't know about a Droid, but I can tell you on an iPhone, if you hold your flashlight down, you know, it turns it on. Well, right now, it's not giving me a lot of light. See that? But if I turn my phone on and I come down here to this menu where you swipe down and you get this menu here, and I hold the flashlight, it will give me variations of brightness. So if I take this little flashlight all the way up, I get a lot of light. So I can really see a whole lot of information in here. So if I'm ever working in a situation, like let's just say I'm on vacation and I'm in a situation where the lighting is just meh, you know what I mean? Or I'm at somebody else's house and I don't have my big lights and I'm not, you know, I just don't have the kind of lighting I need. I can whip out my phone for me to work. So I just love using my flashlight as an extra backup for lighting. Now the iPad, I'm trying to remember if my iPad even has a flashlight. It's so big and cumbersome, I don't really use it for that. Now you can prop it up if you need that extra light, if you have one. Let me check real quick. So it does have the flashlight. You know, of course in this lighting you can't really see it, but you can prop it up and use it as your extra light. So who knew, right? All right, so tip 3, for those of you who did not get a reference guide. Okay, so we didn't get a reference guide and we're struggling, right? We're going, oh no, we didn't get a reference guide. So what are we gonna do? We are gonna take our device, whether it be an iPad or a cell phone, and we're gonna take pictures of our painting. So we're gonna start here. What we want to do is we're going to divide this piece into 6 sections. But what I want to make sure I'm doing is I'm going to touch the screen. You don't want to get close because when you get close, you lose clarity. Keep the screen back, touch the screen to make sure it focuses, hold it as still as possible like I'm not able to do right now, and then take the photo. Slide it over, overlapping where you were before. Click the screen to focus and then take another one. Do the same thing and repeat the process until you have the entire thing. Now you're going to take, I said 6 photos, you're going to take 9. You want to take 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to move 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you want to do that overlapping each section. And that will ensure that you have a great photo of each area. I can go into this photo and I can say edit. I can go up to this little, it looks like a little clock, and I can click that. And over here I have options on how to make that a little brighter. What I like to use most is this one right here, which is like a plus minus in a circle, and that is exposure. If you go up or down, you'll notice it brighten and darken, and I like to take it up somewhere until I see that it's clear and it's lightened up. And then I click done, and that's going to save it. You see how black and white that is? Now, the beauty of this is not only do I have a reference guide on my screen, but I also can, and because it's super focused from touching the screen and making it clear, I can zoom in and know that that little teeny area is a 24. It not only acts as my reference guide, but it acts as a reference guide that is interactive. So I can see clearly what color goes in which section, but I also can magnify it as close in as I need to. So that brings me to the final tip for the technology part of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and try to use the iPad for this part, even though normally I'd be using my phone, but for visibility purposes for you guys, I'm going to do this with the iPad. And let's say we're working with a very small detailed reference guide here, and we're struggling to see some of these little tiny areas. So let's use our device as a magnifier. Now, you guys know I love the magnifying headlamp, and I also love the little bookmark that I get from Opalberry. But let's say that you don't have either one of those yet. You've just started out and you're just struggling and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford to get those things yet. What can I do? So what I advise, we're going to use our iPad. We're going to hold it over the reference guide, and we're going to click the screen, which automatically focuses in on that section. Now, an iPad or an iPhone don't necessarily have the best zooming capabilities, but if you get up close and you start to lose clarity, you can zoom and then you can tap, and it will clear that section up. And then you can zoom in a little bit more by pinching your screen. And do you see how large and how clear that gets? Sorry, I'm shaking. But you can see that. Like, let's look at a tiny area. Now sorry, this is gonna be dizzy looking for a minute. Let's pinpoint right here on number 21. Let's take our screen way back out. See if I can find it here. Okay. Now, number 21, we can see it right here. Make sure I can see it in the camera. And I've got the arrow on it. Let's zoom in. Let's tap. Let's zoom in. There it goes. It's up here for some reason. See how I'm zooming in on that little tiny area and how clear? I mean, and that is how close I can get. Now, if I need to even drop my arm down lower, sorry, I'm making y'all dizzy. But you can see how close we can get. So that is how you use your device as a magnifier. 99% of the people I know have an iPhone or a Droid of some kind, or some kind of piece of technology that they can use. So the next part of this video is going to be talking about what if you don't, or what if you just like having, pen to paper kind of thing, and you like having that visual reference right in front of you, or you like doing both. I like doing both sometimes. And so you like to be able to flip through and look at what you have. Well, I have a solution for that as well. So let me get that and let's talk about it. So let's talk about these logs that I had designed a while back. And this one is the paint by number log, and this one is for diamond paintings. Now, eventually I can do cross stitch logs because It's just a matter of changing out the heading here. So if that is something I need to do, I can easily do that. Basically, they're the same type of thing. And let me talk about what I included on each of these pages and why. Now, I use on all my planner pages, on all my everything I do, from my calendar to my planning, everything, I use a FRIXION erasable gel pen. And you guys may have heard of these by now. They've been around for a long time. I have been a huge fan for about 10 years, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so let's talk about the log first, and then I'm going to talk about the pen as I use it. So basically what I have here is a category for painting name. I'm going to put the name of my painting right here. I'm going to put where I purchased it from here, how much I paid for it, the date I ordered it, and the date I received it. Now, the reason I want to put this information is so that I know where it is in my queue. First of all, this tells me the order that I have purchased these items, and then it tells me when I received it. So I know basically, you know, how long this paint has been sitting in my stash, right? Then here I have, and you can barely see this, but this is just for your personal, you know, information. I want to put how many stars, this quality of this kit, how many stars do I think this is? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little stars here. And that way I know, is this a 5-star kit? Because that way I know if I want to come back to this particular company and order from them again. And I can just mark that. So I'm going to do that in a minute. But then I also have a progress category with 4 circles. So if this is a work in progress, I can mark this. And let's just say I'm working on this piece. If you decide I have a painting that I need to do for somebody's birthday or Mother's Day like I did, and you have to set it aside, where's your progress? Are you, are you just 1/4 of the way done? Are you halfway done? Are you 3/4 of the way done? Or are you completely done? Once you finish it, you can mark your little bubble here and know that you're done. So let's do a for example. Let me get in here. Now this is obviously not going to be accurate for my list, but I'm going to fill this out as if I am ordering or working on a painting. So let's do the Norgeson Owl. So I'm just going to put, the painting name is Queen of the Night. Okay, and this is from Norgeson. And then the cost for me on this piece was $0 because they actually sent it to me as a test and review. Received sometime in July. Let's just go ahead and put, because this is just for my video purposes, let's say that I received it on the 28th of July and they actually sent it on the 1st of July of 2020. The quality is, and I don't have to be precise about these stars, but I can if I want to. And my progress, believe it or not, you guys, believe it or not, I am so close to being done with my queen. All right, so I don't like the fact that I just filled that bubble almost completely up. So once that gel ink dries, this is an erasable pen. And yes, you heard me correctly. They have other FRIXION products that I use, but this is the one I like best because it's a very vivid ink. So while that's drying, I'm gonna go over here, and I don't like this little 0 here. But yeah, you see that? It uses FRIXION. It doesn't use eraser. It uses FRIXION on the end of this pen. And it removes, it removes the gel ink based on FRIXION. So it is an amazing pen. I'm going to link you to it below. They have all kinds of sets on Amazon. That's where I get mine. That's where I found the best pricing. I have like multicolor sets. I have black. I buy a bunch of blacks. This is actually the 0.07 size. I like the 0.05 size. But yeah, that's just how I roll. I love it for my planner because I can change my plans. If I have a doctor's appointment that I have to cancel or they've rescheduled, then I have that ability to change it. if a bill comes due and they've changed the amount or something happens, I can fix that, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, so I just love these pens, but that's what I'm using. All right, so you can see how you could keep a log of this information on these digital printouts that I made. Now, this is a copywritten digital guide that I handmade, and so I do sell it. You cannot reproduce it, but you can print as many copies once you purchase it, as many copies as you want. Now, I print these on an HP matte presentation paper that is double-sided, so you can print it front and back if you want. It is a great quality paper. It's matte, but it's also, you know, two-sided, so that if you print it on both sides, you don't really see any show through. And then what I do, you can use this in a 3-hole punch if you want and put it in a binder. But what I like to do, because I use the Happy Planner system, I have the original Happy Planner system before it was Happy Planner. It was called Roll-A-Bind, and it is the same disc system that was made before there was such a thing as a Happy Planner. So this is the one that was created back 20 years ago or so, and so I don't have the little pretty colorful punch system, but this is the same thing. So I'm going to link you to the Happy Planner punch. It's a disc punch, and this is what I do to use it in my planner system. So I will take my logs, and you can see that there's a different kind of setup in here, and I'm just going to slip it in like I would a 3-hole punch, line it up, push them in, and then push it down. And what it does is it gives me these kinds of punch out, and then I can take it to a Happy Planner. So it's a regular standard 8.5 by 11 type sheet of paper, and I can put it in whichever planner I'm using, which is the disc system. And this is how I do all of my printable planner pages. So then I have that in here. So that is how I do that. Now, this cover is no longer available with Happy Planner, but they have tons of amazing Happy Planner, you know, items. So Roll-A-Bind machine, or the tool I just showed you, that company, Roll-A-Bind, actually their warehouse burned down, you know, 15 years ago. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I'm glad I had that unit. I'm glad I had the discs that, you know, I had a big container of discs, because I was no longer able to get that product. And then all of a sudden Happy Planner came out using the disc type products, and I went, oh my gosh, you know, so immediately I was buying all the Happy Planner products. Imagine that, right? But you know, if you guys use the Happy Planner system and you have a smaller format, such as the classic size. So this is their classic, and you can see this is the big planner system, which is this one that I just put my page into. You could print that, my digital logs, the size of the classic planner, and I cannot remember what size this is, so I apologize, and it would slide in here just as easily as it would in your larger one. So this is just a journal, but whatever, it works however you want to do it. But you could 3-hole punch those, put them in a binder, however you like to do your storage method. But those logs work for keeping track, you know, of your items in the old-fashioned way, as I like to call it. So however you like to track your products that you buy, it's a good way to keep up with your stash, because I know you guys, we are all collectors of some sort. And again, if you guys want me to make a cross stitch log like that, drop a comment below. Let me know which one of the organizational items I showed you today you like to use, or which one of these you think you would use the most. Whether you think you'd use the manual log like I just showed with my digital files, or whether you like the idea of the iPhone, iPad type of system, or if you like both, because some people do like to do both. So I'd love to see your feedback. Be sure to do that. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel while you're at it, if you do not mind. Go join me on Patreon, on Facebook at my group, like my page on Facebook as well, and join me on Instagram and Pinterest. And you guys, I will see you back soon. Thanks as always for watching.